I visited the South Carolina State Capitol building, or properly spoken, State House. I'm going to give my commentary and show you what it looks like inside and out. By the way, most states, 39 of the 50, use the term Capitol. Indiana and Ohio use the term State House with the word state and house put together as one compound word. 8 states use State House with it being 2 separate words. And Delaware has a legislative hall. If you know the history as to why, I would love if you add it in the comment section. Anyway, my visit to South Carolina was short and sweet. I drove from my home in the suburbs of Atlanta to Columbia, South Carolina on a Saturday morning. This trip had 2 purposes really. My son's birthday was on the same day. So because I knew I was planning a trip to Charlotte, North Carolina for his birthday, Columbia was a convenient stop. The drive to Columbia probably added 2 hours to an otherwise 3-hour trip, but the drive was worth it. I took advantage of the opportunity to add another Capitol building visit to my list. Columbia's population in 2021 was around 138,000, less than half the 500,000 people in Atlanta. I didn't drive around the city much since I left for Columbia from Atlanta on the same morning. Usually, I stayed a night in the city to get a better feel for it, but as I said, I had other plans and wanted to hurry to make it to Charlotte. Of note, this was the first Capitol building I visited on a Saturday morning. Many of them are not open during the weekends, so I was actually glad I had the opportunity to add this visit to my weekend trip without the need to spend the night because I saved a few bucks. Once I made it to the city, I quickly found the State House in a parking spot across from the State House grounds. After parking my car, I walked the grounds for a bit before entering in the west side of the building. The original State House was built in Charleston in 1753. Then the second State House was built here in Columbia in 1790. 75 years later, in 1865, the Columbia State House was burned to the ground by General Sherman's Union troops during the American Civil War. The existing State House wasn't fully rebuilt until 1903. It was later renovated in 1998 to bring it up to earthquake and handicap accessibility standards. Once I went into the building, I went through the metal detector and started my self-guided tour. The building was very quiet and foot traffic was very light. The South Carolina State House gives complimentary tours even on Saturdays. There was a tour in session when I arrived, but I didn't want to join it. I saw 4 stories in the building, including the basement. Public tours of the basement were not allowed. There's a sign present prior to walking towards the basement stairs that informs visitors they are not permitted to walk past that point. The first floor is the floor I entered into after going through the security screening. It's a grand room with a few offices located on it, including the gift shop. The east wing of the first floor is home to the Lieutenant Governor's office. The west wing houses the office of the governor. And from the first floor, you'll find a twin staircase that leads to the main lobby on the second floor. The twin staircase has hanging portraits of notable people throughout South Carolina's history. Up the grand staircase is the second floor or main lobby where the Senate and House chambers are located. The House and Senate chambers open off the lobby. The Senate chamber's exterior hallway doors were closed and locked, so I couldn't get a picture or a view of their chambers. The House chamber's exterior hallway doors were open, but the chamber doors were locked. But although I couldn't walk in the House chambers, I got a good glimpse of the room. From the second floor main lobby, there was another staircase that led to a balcony. The balcony overlooked the main lobby and is where you'll be able to access the Senate and House chamber galleries if you ever wanted to sit in on a public session. Like a few other capitals I visited, the South Carolina State House is a working Capitol building, meaning this is where the legislators work when they are in session. As I stated, I didn't spend much time in the State House. It was pretty empty and most of it was inaccessible. There was also a joint legislative conference room or library off of the main lobby that had many of its original 1889 elements, but it too was also locked for self-guided tours. If you're interested in learning a bit more about each room and their architectural features, be sure to visit and sign up for an official tour. After I left, I headed to Charlotte and enjoyed the day with my son, who turned 21 years old. And that's that, the end of my Capitol tour. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in seeing my next tour or any of my future tours, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you'll see those videos pop up in your feed once they're released. Until then, always remember, go out and go travel. You have everywhere to go see.